Now I'm happy to admit that I was wrong when I said that the Cardo Packtalk Custom and its subscription-based features made no sense. Now they didn't ask me to make this and they're certainly not paying me, but this is what you need to know. So when Cardo announced the Packtalk Custom, it came in for a lot of flack. If you Google reviews of it, you'll find a lot of people complaining that it's the beginning of the end and a terrible idea. And I was one of them. I commented on Cardo's video release and wrote an article about it, though that now redirects to the full review, having spent a couple of months using this one. Cardo held a press conference a while back here in the UK to present its entire range. But as I've reviewed Cardo kit from the base Spirit HD to the range-topping Packtalk Edge, I took the chance to test the Custom both in its out-of-the-box form and with the Paywall features. Now, it was at the event that Marco Schinkel from Cardo said, if you want all the features all the time, don't buy the Packtalk Custom. And that's what made me really question where this thing fits in the market. And let's first look at what the Packtalk Custom is straight out of the box without paying for any extra features. At its core, it's a fully spec'd mesh intercom. So that means it will pair with up to 14 other riders and they don't have to parade down the road in the same order like the old days of Bluetooth intercoms. Now if you want the full review, check out the link in the description where I'll explain all the testing. But the gist is that the maximum range I found was about 1100 meters, which is pretty typical for bike comms. But that'll reduce a fair bit with traffic, trees, hills and buildings. But mesh means that all the riders stay fully in touch with each other from the back to the front, as long as at least one of them is within range of the next. Now at the press conference, we got about 7 of us all out for a ride together, and it was handy being able to talk to everyone if we wanted, and I had music playing as well, which kind of reduced down in volume while the speech came through. But the pack did get split up at one point. Now because of mesh, that just meant that the 3 people in the front could still talk to each other, and the 4 caught behind in traffic could also speak among themselves. Once the lead rider of the back group got close enough to the rearmost rider of the front group, everyone could speak together again. It's simple to set up, it automatically reconnects, and it's very clear. And that's the same with all quality mesh systems. Cardo's mesh system does allow the mesh group leader to add one rider who has any intercom by linking them in on a phone call, which could be handy. So mesh is good, but what else has the Packtalk Custom got as standard? Well, it's got a Bluetooth 5.2 chip for high-speed connection to your phone, and it is really quick. You literally turn it on and as it boots, it says,
phone connected.
And that also brings higher quality audio streaming. It's got an FM radio, though to be honest, it's not worth buying any intercom for the radio alone, as they're already all that good, and this one's no better or worse than others I've tried. It's got over-the-air updates, which are much better than having to faff with the computer. And it does work with your phone's assistant, so you can ask your phone to make calls if you want. It's waterproof, which surprisingly, not all intercoms are. It's got 40mm high definition speakers that sound very good, though aren't quite as swanky as the JBL ones that come with the Packtalk Edge and Packtalk Neo. It comes with a boom mic for open face and flip front lids, as well as a small Velcro mic for full face. It's got a clip-on and a self-adhesive bracket fit-in, and it's got a 2-year warranty, which in the UK at least has really good customer support from the distributor, Palmer UK. Thing is, that covers pretty much all I actually tend to use an intercom for. Listen to music, being able to call my wife or get a call from her in an emergency, like asking if she wants me to pick up a McDonald's on the way home, listening to directions from my phone, and talking to Helen when she's a pillion. But Cardo's own Spirit HD can do all of that for just £139 retail, or £112 street price at the moment. But it's also got a limited but useful enough range to talk to another rider on Bluetooth, or a pillion of course, but just one. And it doesn't require Helen to have a mesh intercom for me to be able to talk to her, because out of the box, the Custom can only connect to one Bluetooth device, and that doesn't include other Bluetooth comms units. But if I wanted to talk to other riders in a group, I would absolutely go for a mesh intercom. And if Helen was going to be on those group rides, I'd get her one too. So that's where the Packtalk Custom could be the right choice. Then the pay-per-use features are just there if you want them. But, another but, there's one key thing missing from that out-of-the-box state, and it's being able to connect to another Bluetooth device at the same time as your phone, like a sat-nav. Now, if you have a Garmin, you could control music and phone calls from that, so pair to it instead. Or if your bike's TFT dash can control it all, you could do it that way. But you wouldn't be able to access the Cardo Connect app without pairing back to the phone instead. Though that's not a major issue, as how often will you really need to unless you want to access the controls from your bars. Thing is, if everything you do, like navigation and music, is all on your phone, none of this is a problem. And as someone who tends to use Google Maps to get me direct to somewhere, or Kalimoto for fun rides, I don't really need the extra connection. So let's have a look at the paid features then, remembering that Cardo says they're only intended to be used as and when you need them, not really as a long-term subscription. The Silver package costs $2.99 a month or $19.99 a year and adds music sharing with your Pillion, which Helen isn't bothered about and she can always stream her own music. And it adds audio profiles that give higher volume or bass boost or vocal settings. Now they're cool, but I don't really use them. You also get a speed dial that lets you double tap the phone button to call a number. Handy, but you can use your phone's assistant for a call. The Gold package costs $4.99 for a month or $29.99 for a year. Now that's got everything from Silver, but it also has Bluetooth intercom to other Cardos and a universal Bluetooth intercom by putting the other device, like a Sena, into phone pairing. And you can connect a second device, like a sat-nav, as well as your phone. Now this is a package I think would be most likely used, maybe by someone on a trip with a mate who has a Bluetooth intercom. But if you need the second device all the time, like for a sat-nav, then the Custom probably isn't right for you, as the retail price difference between it and the Packtalk Neo, which is basically the Custom but with all the features unlocked, and the JBL speakers, is £77 or about 3.5 years of subscription payments. Now that's retail prices, not street prices. We'll get to that in a minute. The Platinum package has everything from Gold and Silver for £6.99 for a month or $39.99 for a year. And it also adds voice control, which is very good on Cardo, but not something I personally subscribe for. And it's got Eco Mode, which stops the mesh from constantly searching so it can automatically reconnect. So instead, if you lose connection with another rider, you just press the button instead. And that gives you up to about 20% more battery life. Now in my testing, the bog standard Packtalk Custom, straight out of the box, no extras paid for, lasts just over 9 hours when streaming music at full volume, which I reckon is enough for a full day's riding. So I can't really see many people bothering with Platinum. Right. So what about the competition? Well, first of all, you must know that mesh comms are not universal. New Cardo, Midland and Nuclear mesh comms should all work together, and all new Sena and Interphone mesh should work fine too. But the two main players, Cardo and Sena, need their heads banging together as they won't play nicely on mesh. As to which you should buy, that depends on what your mates ride, so you can all talk to each other. Not many Senas are fully waterproof, which is a consideration, and their voice control, where they have it, isn't quite as good as Cardo's at the moment, at least with my lispy voice. They also don't update quite as easily as the Cardos. But as entry-level mesh intercoms go, the Sena Spider ST1 here retails at £209, which is only 36 quid less than the Cardo Packtalk Custom. And it doesn't have a radio, it's not fully waterproof, it's not got over-the-air updates, and of course you can't temporarily add features like you can if you pay extra every now and then on the Cardo. So Bluetooth comms are not an option at all on the Spider. I should say, by the way, that there's also an RT1, which I haven't used, which doesn't have the jog wheel, but that should be more waterproof than this one. And actually street prices for that are slightly lower even than the ST1. Anyway, but
Hello, phone connected.
the Sena Spider does allow you to connect to a sat-nav as well as your phone at the same time, which you have to pay more for on the Cardo. So keep that in mind. And of course, you must think about what your mates have. If they're using Shoei or Schuberth's own brand comms, for instance, that's Sena. And here's the main problem. The Sena Spider ST1 street price is $149.99. I just checked, and the RT1 street price is $139.99 as I record this in June 2023. And while the Packtalk Custom is so new that nobody's discounting it yet, that means it's £100 more at the moment. Now, there is, by the way, a way to ride with any brand of comms, though, as a group, and that's all by connecting via a conference call. Now, you could use Discord for that or WhatsApp. You'll need to all have a data connection, of course, and I found that if you lose that connection, it's only about 20 or 30 seconds before the call is abandoned entirely. And remote areas, that could be a pain. Now there's also the Ruroc Chain app, but I tried that just before making this video again and it kept crashing. Looking at the iOS and Android reviews on the app pages, a lot of people are having a lot of problems with it, which would be a particular pain if you were trying to use it with Ruroc Shockwave intercom, as that's really limited. Right, street prices, and this is where things fall apart for Cardo. Of the mesh intercoms that Cardo makes, retail price for the Packtalk Custom is £245. The Neo is £322 and the Edge is £356. The only difference with the Edge is that it has the magnetic connector, which is kind of trick, but not vital. And the speakers and mic connect via pins rather than USB plug of the Neo and Custom. Now, apparently some riding instructors prefer the plug as they can leave the unit in a pocket and not worry about having it mounted on a lid. Oh, and before I forget, all Cardos use a 3.5mm TRS plug for the speakers. So if you want, you can plug in your own headphones or speakered up earplugs. But look at the current street prices, which we can't avoid. The Edge is going for 290 quid, so just £45 more for the top end comms than the Custom, which is still at full retail price. But worse, for Cardo at least, is the Neo, which is only £249, £4 more than the Custom, and it's fully unlocked and it has the JBL speakers. Now for what I want from an intercom, and assuming I was riding in groups, the Packtalk Custom does make a lot of sense, even more so as an intercom for my wife, but only if it can hit the right street price compared to the others. And at the moment, it's not. But, and this is a big but, which we'll all like, street prices always vary. We've seen Sena's entry-level mesh intercom drop a lot in price recently, as it's been on sale for quite a while.
Hello.
Cardo's range-topping Neo and Edge have dropped too. If the Custom drops in price, it could then become a great entry-level mesh intercom that has features you can turn on if you need them. But as with anything, you do have to do your research when buying something. Don't just rely on YouTube videos to tell you what to buy, as nobody knows what features are important to you. If you want a basic intercom that's reliable and has great audio quality, but you don't need to talk to anything more than one other rider, or your pillion, I'd strongly recommend Cardo's Spirit HD. You could look at cheap ones off Amazon and eBay, but keep in mind that they might not have the same build or even audio quality, and if your phone's new operating system bugs it up, there might not be a dedicated dev team working frantically on an update to keep it going like there are with the big players. If talking to groups is important to you, then absolutely, I'd really say get a mesh intercom and choose between all of you so you're all compatible. I haven't tried the mesh intercoms from the other brands, but Sena and Cardo do some great kit. So then it will come down to features and price. And don't forget waterproofing too. I was wrong about the Cardo Packtalk Custom. It's not the start of a slippery slope of hardware lockouts. It's a very good entry-level mesh intercom with temporary upgrade options. It just needs to sit at the right price compared to the competition. If you're still not sure what to get, why not join our Facebook group, Bennetts BikeSocial, where you can chat with us and thousands of other riders about kit, bikes, places to go, and much more. It's a friendly place to hang out, and we've also got dozens of industry experts ready to offer useful advice if you need it. Hopefully I'll see you there soon. It's waterproof, which surprisingly not all intercoms are.